So guys, today we got a very fun build here focused around the Speaker's Sight exotic helmet, going to be constantly giving us healing benefits to us and our allies, alongside some offensive capabilities there as well, which is very, very fun here inside of the final shape. So we'll get into all the details here as usual. Got a prismatic build and a solar focused version as well in this one, so a lot to get through. So if you're going to enjoy as always, be sure to leave a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, as it's free to do and really does help me out here a ton. And a lot of you who watch aren't actually subscribed, so if you could do that, I would very much appreciate it. But with all that being said, let's jump into today's video. So, first off, if you don't know what Speaker's Sight does, it basically converts your healing grenade into a healing turret, which will heal you and your allies, and then healing allies will occasionally spawn orbs of power. This is a very great healing ability that is added to the game thanks to this helmet, and with Prismatic in general, you're going to be able to spawn a lot of these turrets, as well as keep yourself up really, really well. So let's jump into the Prismatic subclass here real quick. For your super, it doesn't really matter what you run, so pick whatever you like. I really like using Song of Flame, so I'm using that. In terms of my basic abilities, Healing Rift, Burst Glide, Arcane Needle for more melee charges and for just the ranged capability, and then obviously the Healing Grenade, which will be transformed into a healing turret thanks to my exotic helmet. In terms of aspect, the main one you want is Feed the Void to give you Devour. Devour is going to be constantly procced with this build, and you're going to be getting a lot of grenade energy back thanks to Devour, which will allow you to spawn multiple healing turrets at once, which is very, very handy. I also run Hellion to give me a solar buddy whenever I cast my class ability. You could run something else, but I just prefer running Hellion, so just choose whatever you want there for that second aspect slot, but definitely want to run Feed the Void to give you Devour and constant grenade energy. In terms of the fragments here, the first one I have is Facet of Hope, where while I have an elemental buff, my class ability regenerates more quickly. Alongside that, Facet of Balance, rapidly defeating targets with light damage grants melee energy, and rapidly defeating targets with darkness damage grants grenade energy. Very, very handy there for just general ability uptime. Also, you've got Facet of Dawn, where powered melee hits against targets makes you radiant, and powered melee final blows will make you and allies radiant. Going to be one of those buffs that I've been talking about, which will feed back into Facet of Hope, giving me my class ability back. Then I've got Facet of Purpose, just for more survivability, where picking up an Orb of Power will grant me either Amplified, Restoration, Frost Armor, Woven Mail, or an Overshield based on the super that I have equipped. So if you want to focus more into this, just choose whatever super you want, dependent on the elemental buff that they provide. And then I've also got Facet of Defiance, just for extra offensive capabilities here. Whenever I finish a target, it'll either jolt, scorch, slow, sever, or make a target volatile based on the super damage type. Could swap this out for either Facet of Blessing so that you get health on melee kill, or Facet of Protection if you want to be more damage resistant while surrounded by targets. Those are some other good options there. And that's everything for the actual Prismatic build itself. One thing that I actually really like about this build is that it doesn't require any specific weapon types, so there's no need to match weapons to the element of your super or grenade. You can choose whatever weapons you like, because with your healing turrets and Devour, you're going to be constantly healing yourself and allies. Just very, very handy, freeing up so that you can use whatever weapons you would like, which is awesome. Now though, let's get into the solar version of this build. This one's going to be a little bit more restrictive in terms of weapon choice, but will provide you pretty much the same benefits as the Prismatic version. Going into the super, obviously, Wall of Radiance is going to be a good one to choose. I am a very big fan of Song of Flame, so if you are in a non-boss encounter in a raid, Song of Flame is going to be a good choice there, or if you want, you can use Daybreak as well. Song of Flame or Wall of Radiance, mainly those options are going to be the best shout. Abilities, Healing Rift, Burst Glide, Incinerate Snap, and a Healing Grenade as usual. But aspects, you're going to want to run Touch of Flame, just so that your healing turret will grant you restoration ×2 instead of restoration ×1, just for additional healing. And then your second fragment slot can be whatever you want. I run Icarus Dash, but you could run Heat Risers or Hellion if you want to. In terms of the actual fragments though, I have Ember of Mercy, where picking up a Fire Sprite will grant me restoration. Ember of Empyrean, where solar weapon or ability final blows will extend the duration of restoration and radiant effects applied to me. Facet of Solace, radiant and restoration effects have increased duration. And then also Ember of Searing, where defeating a scorched target grants melee energy and creates a Fire Sprite. Fire Sprite generation is going to be really, really good here, giving me restoration, and then using solar abilities or weapons will just proc the restoration timer, allowing me to basically keep that timer up infinitely, which is very, very handy. Alongside Touch of Flame, going to be buffing the general usage of the healing turret, once again granting restoration times 2 instead of the normal restoration times 1. And with this one, you are going to need a solo weapon, and I could not recommend anything other than the No Hesitations auto rifle, with the main trait being Physic, where rapidly healing allies grants you restoration, and it also grants the ally that you're shooting restoration as well. Pairing this with Incandescent to generate those fire sprites as well, going to be a great combo. There is another perk you can get in the second column though, which will grant you a damage boost whenever you heal a target. So that could be a pretty good option, but I personally just really like Incandescent. And yeah, that is basically it for the 2 builds. Hopefully you enjoyed them as much as I do. If you want to copy these builds, there'll be a link in the pinned comment for both of these builds. So hopefully you enjoy. And that is everything for this video. So if you have enjoyed, remember to leave a like and subscribe. But that's it for me today. So I'll catch you guys in the next one.